Hey, it's Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Today, we're gonna do single pigeon pose, Rajakapotasana. I suggest a block and a strap if you feel like you're sort of tight. To start out, we'll enter from a lunge because it seems to be or tends to be the most accessible way to enter. So if you lower down into like a low lunge, take your right foot and sort of toe heel it over to your left wrist, like so. Okay? Once the leg is over there, you drop your right knee down to the floor. Okay, you see how when I bring my leg down, this leg is parallel to the front of the mat? That's ideal, but it may not be possible for your body. So, if you're feeling tight, you can make this pose easier by bending your leg backwards so your foot is closer to your hip. So we are aiming for parallel, but that may or may not be in your cards today. Make sure that your knee is wide of your chest. So you don't want the knee like here, like in the middle of your chest, but wide of your chest. Your back knee, you should be right on top of your knee, okay? Now this is not on top of my knee. This is like on the side of my knee. So in order to do this pose, you have to understand what it means to be top of the knee and your toes straight back. If when you come into this pose, you feel like you're like all falling over onto this hip, so you're sort of like coming in, something like this, that ain't gonna work. Not only am I on the side of my knee, but my hips need to be square to the floor. So, if your hips aren't square, take a block, a blanket, a pillow, a bolster, anything you want, and you put it under the hip that's dropping, the front leg. So, you just sort of wedge it under there, under your butt, like so that your hips are nice and even, and you fold forward any amount. Now ideally we're looking for the floor, but the thing under your butt, you probably won't find the floor, but once that's out, we're looking to come as far down as possible. Now, you can see that my hips are parallel to the floor. They're not over here, right? Like my body's not all sideways and wonky. Again, my leg is parallel to the front of the mat, but if I bend my knee more, it makes it easier. Now here's a little insider tip that you'll only hear from me. Ready for it? You can also, I'm gonna just switch legs really quickly so you can see this. You can also make this pose deeper, not just by adjusting your foot forward, but if you take your foot and move it midline. Now this one's a tough one. But if you, and I'm taking my entire mat with me. If you take your foot to the middle of your mat, now again, I'm leaning over. You don't want to be doing that. I'm only doing that for demonstration purposes so you can see my leg. So when I fold forward, my foot is in the middle of my chest, in the middle of my body. Like if I could pick my nose with my toe, I know I've arrived. So if you can get all the way down here, still hips square, but this time leg is not only parallel, mine's actually a little forward of parallel. The more forward it goes, the deeper it is. But if you have it midline like this, instead of the norm, which is out here to the outside of your hip, what you're gonna find is that midline action will take you into your inner hip instead of just basically your glutes and your piriformis. Like I don't think that like a normal, let's say, single pigeon like this is really a hip opener. I think it's a butt opener, but we say hip because it's nicer than butt opener, right? Like butt opener doesn't sound that great. So again, once you're in this pose, it's knee down, toes down, hips square, and if you can't square the hip, you take a block or something and wedge it under the bent knee to try to even things off. Foot back makes this easier. Foot forward makes this harder. Foot wide makes this easier. Foot narrow, or whatever you want to call it, midline makes this harder. Okay, now that pose is actually not the pose, okay? So Rajakapotasana, single-legged king pigeon pose, is actually the back bend, holding the foot in the air. This is sort of like a prep pose, what we just did. So let's talk about that grabbing of the back foot. We'll take some different levels. So on this one, I do recommend having the foot in sort of the standard easier position, which is to say angled back and back at your hip, because it will make it easier to balance. This one you definitely don't want to be doing like way up in the sky, because you're going to be like, okay, we don't want that. So you got to have some nice support here. To start, we'll start with like sort of the easiest way. You bend your back leg and just see if you can reach back with the same hand, in this scenario the right hand, and sort of pull the foot away. Now, in real posture, we're actually going to be pulling the foot in. So why do I need to square off. Why am I having you pull it away? Because it teaches your spine how to back bend. This pose, Rajakapotasana, this final pose, is a huge back bend. So pulling it in doesn't necessarily encourage back bend. In fact, I can pull it in and be lying all the way down, right? So start with the leg going back, and if you can, grab with two hands instead. I'm going to sort of interlace my fingers here a little bit and pull back. And notice I'm even like flexing my foot to get this a little bit deeper into the energy of that back leg. Okay, so once you have that, let's take a little deeper. Take your strap. Now, I'm having major mat issues these days. Take your strap. Now, as always, a bigger loop makes things easier. A smaller loop makes it harder. This would be a medium to large size loop for this activity, for this particular posture. So I'll start here. You're in your pose. Loop the foot. Loop the foot. Okay, loop the strap on your foot and take your hand upside down like you're serving like a pizza or something. See how this isn't crossed? Like it's, I don't know if you can see that. Like it's not a figure eight. You don't want it as like a figure eight because it sort of limits mobility and it just, whatever, isn't Virgo friendly. So I take it like it's upside down and then like a stop sign. Okay, notice how this starts pulling my leg inwards. To protect your shoulder and elbow, I do recommend keeping your elbow very close to your side ribs like this. So you sort of pull it in and forward, like you're going to bloody someone's nose, okay? Or, if you like the yoga version, I call this the sunshine day, right? You have to be sort of old enough to understand what the hell that means, but if you do, then great. Sunshine day, that elbow forward and then up. Okay? Once I'm up there, I take my second hand and put it inside the loop as well. Notice I'm not holding on to the tail. Okay? I'm holding inside the loop. And the reason I like being inside the loop is it's measurable. You can measure your progress. Because this is very easy for me, and if your elbows can go forward of your ears, you need a smaller loop. Because this is easy for me, I can make a smaller loop. And this way it's very easy for me to understand, do I need a smaller loop, a bigger loop, and from day to day I can know how deeply I went the day before. Say, take my strap, now it's on the smaller side. Same thing, I loop, hand upside down, make the stop sign, sunshine day, bloody nose forward, and grab. Now, I'm trying to sort of pull my foot backwards again on this one, to help me get the opening in my chest, in my spine. Elbows are trying to pull behind my ears as much as possible. Okay, now, this strap can be made obviously as small as you want it, right? Like you can make it like, so it's just basically the size of your foot. This is if you have like almost the full rotation. What happens is, this is really going to help you to find the full rotation, because sometimes we have, but it's really hard to actually find your foot. Sometimes we have the full flexibility, but the rotation itself, which I'll go over in a minute, can be really tricky. So this way, my hand is right there. I pull it in, up, and boom. Okay, same thing. And you can certainly drop your head back. Elbows are not too wide, so you're sort of pulling the elbows in. Okay, strap. Now, next variation we'll do, I'm just gonna switch legs for a second so that I can get an even stretch on my legs. Next variation is what some people refer to as the mermaid variation. I'm not really big on colloquial names for poses, but whatever. For lack of a better term, we'll call this our mermaid. So, okay, mermaids, so we take our back tail, reach back, and this time, instead of grabbing with my hand, I shouldn't be wearing bracelets for this, I grab with my elbow. If I have the mobility, right? So I have it with my elbow, my hand comes up, and I grab with my other hand. Now, my problem with this one is you're not going to be able to fully square on this one because your chest is really being pulled back by your leg, right? You've got one leg backwards and one leg forward. It's a bit of a twist, but it does help to sort of teach your spine where we need to go with this final pose. Okay, now, the trickiest part of coming into Rajakapotasana, and by the way, I know it sounds super fancy. The name isn't that fancy. It's super commonsensical. Once you know like some of the Sanskrit terms, it's very logical. Eka, one, pada, foot or leg, Raja, king, that's just like a Raja in English actually, and Kapotasana is our pigeon. Okay, so Sanskrit is not as fancy and fabulous as we think it is. You learn it just like any other language, it's just words. Okay, so let's watch carefully, because this foot position, this grip is sort of the trickiest part of the pose. When my leg bends up, okay, I'm gonna pull this foot back for stability. Remember how the hand was in that pizza position? It's gotta go there again. People really wanna grab this way, but that's not gonna help you with the rotation, because on this one, you really need to rotate up and over, but if your hand is down, you can't really get there. So it's not here. It's hand upside down. This is super awkward. And you grab the pinky toe edge. So you see how my thumb is on top and my hand is on the bottom? Okay, this is a funky grip. Now, my thumb, even though it's on top now, I'm not gonna actually remove my thumb, that would be really gross, but I'm gonna take it from under and put it on the other side. So now I have my whole hand under my foot from the pinky toe edge. This is important. The closer I am to the arch of my foot, the easier this rotation will be. Because if I'm at my toes, which I see all the time, people come up and they slide off. You don't really want to do that. So if I'm down at the arch of my foot, I won't slide off, or at least I won't slide off as easily. The movement is the same as it was with the strap. So I've got the foot, I pull it in, elbow stays close, forward. Now watch how it rotates as it comes up. Now I'm using this hand now. My mat is getting so bunchy. I'm using this hand now to sort of square off my body, because the tendency again is going to be to really open here. So once I get up, I need to pull the body square, you see? And then I can reach back, find my foot, and bring it. It's hard to talk in this pose. Bring it to my head. When I'm ready to come out, I can actually, if you want to make it really easy on your shoulder, boop, and let it go. Okay, so this pose is like the greatest hip opener, even though it's not a massive hip opener. I'm sorry. I just said before, it's not really that much of a hip opener, but it's an awesome back bend. In fact, Pigeon when we talk about pigeon poses, doesn't refer to the leg, which is what everybody thinks it is. It refers to the puffing of the chest. That's what we're looking for. Big, puffy chest. Va-voom, right? Just like me. Hey, what can I say? I got what I got. That's all that I got. I'm Shana Meyerson with YOGAthletica in Los Angeles, California. Send me your comments. I always reply to them. Do this pose every day. It's a good one. Ciao.